Welcome to Three the Hardaway, aka the three-man Jalen Weave, aka the best big three since LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh, live on YouTube on a Sunday. We're a little bit early today at 12 o'clock and slightly late. So, Candy, if you're here, if you're listening, don't get on us. We only a little bit late, but technically we early. We
You
early.
actually on time.
Technically on time, technically late, technically early. We here though. That's the main thing. We here though. If you are here, please leave a like on the stream, comment to join the discussion, and of course, subscribe to the channel. We would greatly appreciate it. If you don't know who I am the walking bucket, providing instant offense. It's your boy Savage. Up here, we got my guy, your favorite DJ, Sample Man himself, Mr. Tashkir 2. What's good?
AKA the Grizz father, AKA witch with a capital V, AKA everything you could think of. Savage, you done made the streets hot for your boy, man.
Hey,
like it's getting worse. It's getting bad for my mental, bro.
I told you, I'm in front of the bullet, man. I still got y'all. I'm in front of the bullet, man. Now, what I will say is that I can't control Toot, ladies and gentlemen. That's Toot. He his own man. If he stand on business, he stand on business. But that's still my guy.
What about not? Years, what am I not?
Hey, that's facts. Speaking of, Chris already in the comments talking.
Said, I ain't gonna hell to the fire about them Grizz comments. What fire? I'm ice cold. I'm Iceman in this motherfucker.
You already started, man. You already started. What up, Trevor? See, Chris over here messing up the intro, man. We got to introduce everybody to the show, man. We got a very special guest, man. We got a versatile sports media personality, writer for the Phoenix Suns. I forget what the name of it. Let me look at it real quick. Is it Burn City Sports?
Yes, sir. Burn City Sports.
Yeah, Burn City Sports writer. We got the host of The Real Deal with Damian Adams, Mr. Stretch 504 himself. Ooh. Damian Adams, what's good, man?
What's good, man? I'm glad to be on the show. You guys know I've been a big fan since you guys started, man. So it's definitely a full circle moment for me to come on the show and be able to talk basketball with you guys.
For sure, man. We greatly appreciate it, man. I was on Damian's show sometime last year. I don't remember. And of course, the man knows his basketball, knows his sports in general, man. So it's basketball, football, boxing, if you name it. Damian probably covering it on the show, man. So make sure y'all go over there and leave my guy a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th 5-star rating over there.
and he'll bust your ass in 2K with the
So yeah, man. Before we get started, though, man, I'm gonna let Toot get into some NBA trivia like he always does. Hopefully, I can get it right this week. What you got?
Yeah, let's get it. So shout out to Bebita Tailgate. I hope I said it right again. Bebita Tailgate. They do some dope trivia trivias videos on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. So make sure y'all follow them. So I do have a couple. I do one next week for sure. But this one was pretty fun. So I want y'all to name the top 10 most all-star selections since 2000. Again, the top 10 most all-star selections since 2000. And we're going to do the top 10.
So Kobe, for sure. Kobe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
LeBron, for sure.
Of course.
Since 2000.
Since 2000. Tim Duncan, yep.
Tim Duncan, okay. KD?
KD, yep, of course.
Okay.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul is on, yep.
Okay, Chris Paul.
Okay, y'all killing it. Y'all ain't missing one yet.
I'm trying to think. KG?
KG is on here, yep.
KG, okay.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry is not on this list.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You gotta go back a little further.
A little further.
Early 2000s. Nash? Steve Nash?
Steve Nash is not on here.
Dang.
We talked about so
Melo
is not on here.
Damn.
We talked about this player last week for a significant amount of time. I'm gonna kick yo.
What did we talk about last week? Yeah, shoot.
The coaching himself.
Oh, AI.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So right now we got Brian, Kobe, y'all said Duncan, Chris Paul, KG, KD, and AI. We're missing 3.
Tyler says Dirk.
Dirk is one of them. Yep.
Shout out Tyler. What's Tyler?
Missing 2.
Okay.
They played on the same team, and you actually already mentioned them in the pod already.
Oh, Wade, Bosh.
Wade and Bosh.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yes, sir. So yeah,
That's
that's
a
10
good one
most
right
lost.
there.
That's a good
So
list.
Steph
That was a
ain't
good
really
list.
up there?
Man.
Steph
Steph Curry
ain't-
down there? Nah.
Dang.
He got, I think, the most too. He really ain't started making the All-Star game till what?
True.
5 years into the league, 4 or
That's
5
true,
years into the league. Yeah.
That's true.
And shout out to our Chris Bosh, man.
Shout out Chris Boshidi. Get well soon. He might be sooner rather than later, man. So
Come on now.
Sooner rather than later, man. But we have NBA trade season upon us, gentlemen. We actually got our first technical trade of the year. I think it was Marvin Bagley, who's going from trash to trash. Let me pull it up real quick. Pistons and Wizards are finalizing the deal to trade Marvin Bagley, Isaiah Livers, and 2 second-round picks for Gallo and Mike Muscala. I don't think anybody cares about that trade because, I mean, I don't think either team is getting better or any players getting to a better predicament, but that is the first trade.
However, it might help out y'all guy, though. It might help out y'all guy Wiseman.
Wise,
he's going to get some more minutes.
As a Memphian, I'm kind of slowly selling my Wiseman stock. I might sound crazy, but I'm just like, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I did talk to the guys before the show, and I had a list of players who were in trade rumors, and I kind of just wanted to hear their thoughts about will these players get traded, where would be the most ideal situation for them to get traded to, and just their thoughts about, whether that's the incoming team or the outgoing team, whatever. So I'm going to start off with this player right here because he's the one that's most notable, Pascal Siakam. Siakam is a notable all-star or all-star caliber player for the Toronto Raptors. The Raps are not really that good this year, but Pascal Siakam's still doing his thing, and a lot of people are believing that Pascal could be a crucial piece to a championship caliber team. So Pascal Siakam, where do y'all think he would best fit in terms of like a trade?
I would have to go Golden State.
My Warriors. Yes, sir. Come on, same time. Go ahead, yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna go Golden State because I feel like Golden State's in what I call their boys to men period, where it's hard to say goodbye to yesterday, but it's time to go ahead and say goodbye to yesterday. Like it's hard. It's time for them to go ahead. I like it. It's time for them to go ahead and say goodbye to Clay, Draymond, say goodbye to just what they had as far as that culture. And it's time to try to rebuild and revamp around Steph while Steph is still, playing at this level. And I think Pascal Siakam could be the guy to do that. He's not going to provide spacing for you, but he does provide a scoring threat, and his defense will be crucial. Let's say if it is Draymond including that trade, of course you get back Lee Siakam, who also plays defense and can help you out there. But they just need some type of spark, somebody who's in their prime who can take some of the load off Steph Curry. So I think the Warriors would be the best place for Siakam.
I agree with half of what you said. I agree that Siakam could take that pressure off of the core, but I don't agree that it's time to say goodbye necessarily because I feel like the Warriors have the pieces to where you don't have to trade Clay or Drake just yet. And I think the Warriors were most efficient when they had, another scorer, another couple scores. You talk about Siakam who can put up 25 a game. That's kind of what Kevin Durant did. I'm not saying he's going to do it to that scale, but if you can come in and put that and plug that into this core that the Warriors already have, this championship core that they already have, you ain't got to say goodbye. I don't think you saying goodbye to is everybody that you done beat in the playoffs. You and Trevor, y'all think that the dynasty is over. Insane. Same was in the comments last week too. The dynasty is not over. I'm telling y'all. If it is, of course I eat my words. But Siakam definitely belongs in a Warriors jersey, and if he does, that's the best fit for him for sure.
So you think that the Raptors you think the Raptors would take like Kuminga and like Moody and some other like young players for him?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Absolutely. I mean, the thing is like we'll have to what the Raptors are doing, I think, are based on potential, right? Mm-hmm. So you got certain players that you believe could reach their potential in Toronto. I think Kuminga could reach his potential in Toronto. You just got to find the right guards to make sure that happen for him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Toronto will have a log jam with so many players of the same build, man. I don't know. It'll be kind of tough.
But it'll be easier for teams to come to Toronto as well and have like here's the best that we have or the worst that we have, and here we go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as Siakam, Golden State obviously will be a good fit. I don't know about great just yet because I don't know who they would move to make that happen. I tend to lean towards they would keep Clay and Dre because I think Steph would have too much clout to be like, nah, don't move my guys, but move like Kuminga, Moody, these other people. and so they would keep them and have Siakam as well. We talked about Siakam with Dallas on this podcast in the past, I think our first couple episodes ever, we were talking about Siakam going to Dallas, and that's one of the other teams. And I think that Dallas might have some better pieces, as far as like being able to compete. You got Luka, you got Kyrie, you got Pascal, you got Lively. I don't know if they will keep Hardaway Jr., who kind of has been tripping lately.
Bye.
but I mean that core of like those four players, you got Lively, who's a rim runner, you got Siakam, who can score, Luka and Kyrie can get their own. You got a team full of bucket getters, and you got your guy on the back end to protect the rim. I kind of like that better as far as for Pascal being with Dallas more than Golden State. But I mean, you still got Steph at Golden State, who's having a great year, despite the players around him not playing as well. So if I'm Siakam, I would say send me to Dallas, before sending me to Golden State, because I don't know what Golden State consists of with Kerr and his coaching, issues. Speaking of that, like, Dane, how do you feel about Steve Kerr as a coach?
I think Steve Kerr is definitely a great coach. I feel like right now he's just trying to reach and find something, right? Like I saw somebody describe it as throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like he's trying to get something to stick at this moment, and nothing's really working for him right now. Yeah, and I don't think it's all on him. Like the players haven't been productive that need to be productive. Like Andrew Wiggins has been sorry this year, just absolutely garbage this year for the Warriors. Yeah, so when one of your best players that was honestly, he was the second best player when they won a championship a couple years ago. So if you have your guy like that's that important to your success, to just not be playing well at all, really throws a wrench in what you're trying to do. Clay has been very inconsistent this year. Draymond ain't play half the games because he can't control himself. So it's not really on him, even though he hasn't had like the best decisions at times. I think that he's been in a really no-win situation this year.
Okay. It always makes sense for him to go home. Like you mentioned last week too. It might be best for him just be in a place where he's familiar, where he's comfortable, where he grew up at. So that might actually be the best bet for him. I think for sure he will be gone if they get Siakam. Like just send Wiggins back home and let him just figure everything out mentally. Hopefully he gets better after that.
I'll tell you this: if the Warriors are able to keep Wiggins and get Siakam, I think Wiggins will turn it on in the playoffs.
If they get it there, because they struggling right now. They
can't get there, man.
All right, man.
What's the beat, man?
Next player on the list. This player I mentioned.
Savage, real quick.
Wait.
How would you feel about him playing with Halliburton? Because I have my destinations too.
Wiggins with Halliburton?
No, Siakam with Halliburton.
Siakam with Halliburton. So not Halliburton. Siakam and Miles Turner to me are kind of similar in terms of like game. So the thing about Miles Turner, Miles Turner is a great shot blocker, but he's not a great defender, if that makes sense. Like he gonna block shots when they get to the rim, but he ain't just locking down somebody on the defensive end. That's not what he does. He's actually having a down year, if I'm not mistaken, with blocking shots. But I mean, the Pacers as a team, as far as like being a young team to latch onto with Siakam, who's in the prime of his career, I mean, I'm not gonna say no to adding talent to anybody's young team. You got Halliburton, you got Obi Toppin, you got Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin. They'll have that's talent. So I'd rather have more talent than not enough talent in that regard.
So who would the Pacers give up though? That's
the thing.
That'd be the thing too. Yeah,
probably Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield will probably be gone. That other big man with the goggles, what's his name? Jalen Smith, I think. I forgot his name. Maybe Jarris Walker, the rookie they just drafted, because he plays the same position as Siakam. So, and probably first round picks, obviously. But, I mean, if they want them and add talent, it ain't gonna hurt. But it's how much does it help in terms of like competing against Milwaukee, competing against Philadelphia, competing against Miami, and those teams.
Yeah. So the thing with the Pacers is, I feel like it's a culture thing with them. Like they are amazing on offense, but boy, do they just give up some points. They not stopping a nosebleed. So Siakam could help with that in some aspect, but is how much can he do by himself when the team as a core is just like, oh, we're just gonna run and score, which is exciting and it works against certain teams. Like they obviously it works against the Bucks. They keep beating the Bucks, but it's not gonna work against every team. So can Siakam do enough defensively to help them with all the offense they already have? That would be the big question with them.
Yeah. And I'll say this real quick before we move on to the next player. The Pacers, I kind of seen this movie before. And and like the Kings could actually defend though, at least a little bit before they get ran to like the Warriors. But the Pacers are going to be that fun team on a regular season night that can beat anybody. But once the game slows down and you in a 7-game series, it's going to be ugly if you're playing a legitimately elite team like a Boston, like a Milwaukee, like a Philly, like a Miami. So we're going to see them in the playoffs, and you're going to see probably within that first round, like, oh, dang, it's a different ball game compared to a Tuesday night in February. You know what I'm saying? So, but next player, DeJounte Murray. We talked about on this podcast before in previous episodes how, in my opinion, and two, this kind of goes to what you want to talk about a little bit later. Murray was a point guard for San Antonio. Going over to Atlanta, he's now an off-ball guard, which I think he's better at anyway. But they got him and Trae Young together. That has not worked at all. I don't care what any Hawks fan said. Like, what they wanted out of that trade, getting a all-star player, all-defensive team player, has not worked out, in my opinion. And so they're going to have to come off of DeJounte Murray, in my opinion. They keep it Trae Young. Trae Young ain't going nowhere. That's his city. That's his team. But Murray, what do y'all think he's going? What's his best fit?
You go first, too.
Yo, Lakers, man. Yo, Lakers. And you know what I'm saying? That is the player I think they finna go all in for. When you talk about a team that literally trying to beat the Nuggets, like we got to beat the Nuggets. They're the champions, because if not, of course, they can easily repeat. So I think that's the kind of the mindset that you got to have if you're the Lakers. And I think when you got a guard that can actually defensively try to hold Jamal Murray, that'll help, you know what I'm saying, AD and the Jokic matchup. That'll help Bron and whatever he got to do. And then you got DeJounte Murray, who, like, you let him loose in a way. So I love it. I love it with the Lakers. Trevor said he liked it with the Warriors. I like the Warriors too. I definitely like the Warriors too. Put him in just like that slash and roll, go get a bucket when you can. He's that kind of player. And defensively, like, he's an all defensive player. Like, of course, IQ out of this world, but you kind of got to get him out of Atlanta. And I think the Lakers, they got to do everything they can to go and get somebody of his talents, because it's not you going to end up matching against the Nuggets and you can't beat them with the same lineup you had last year. You got to upgrade the point guard. So I think that's a bad fit. I didn't think about the Warriors. I do like the Warriors, but Lakers number one for me.
Okay. Dang.
What do y'all think about Philadelphia?
You read my mind.
It's on my list.
You read my mind. You read my mind, man.
Philadelphia, they've outplayed what we thought they were going to do. A lot of us thought they were going to do after they gave up Harden, because Tyrese Maxey has, just gone through the stratosphere this year. But I still feel like they need that third guy. They need that third guy who they could depend on, who's going to be a good defender, who's also going to make good decisions on offense and can run point guard for you. Because Maxey he's a shooting guard. Like, he can play point, but he's a scorer. That's what he wants to do. And Murray can run point guard, like you guys mentioned. He ran point guard for San Antonio. So I think that'll be a good mix there. Do they give up Tobias Harris? I think that maybe that's the trade that has to be made. Maybe it's Tobias to somebody else. But I think that Philadelphia would be a really good fit for Murray.
I like Philly too. They've been talking about Zach LaVine as well. Like, Philly fans, because I follow some Eagles fans who are also Sixers fans. They like Zach LaVine. I like Murray better than LaVine in this case, because Murray gonna play defense. Zach LaVine, that ain't what he want to do. He don't want to do that at all. My other team, believe it or not, is San Antonio. Like, why not go back to San Antonio, get paired with Wemby, a young team who they play well, man, and they're starting to realize that, oh snap, we got Wemby who can catch lobs. They're giving him the ball more now. Like, give that man the ball. Let him score.
Why did it take so long? Why did it take so long? For them to realize, we got this 7'4" alien playing with us. Let's give him the ball. Like, what was happening, bro? Like, some of the I watch like time. Yeah, every once in a while, I'll go check him out on League Pass and just see what's going on. And you'll see like 5, 6, 7 straight possessions where he doesn't get the ball.
Jeez.
What are y'all doing? Bro, what are y'all doing? Like, this
I like it. I like it though. I like it. Pop telling him, you want the ball, go get a goddamn rebound. That's what it's saying. I like it. I like it. Come on, Pop. Y'all ain't finna question the greatest coach ever. Y'all not finna do it on this pod. Oh, hey, no.
Tyler asked, where's the Pop slander? Too?
Ain't no Pop slander. Stop it. Tyler, you better chill. You better chill. Not on this pod.
All the great coaches come to an end. We've seen it in football this past week. We lost Saban, Belichick. Yeah. Like, it happens when it comes to the older coaches where maybe they lose a little touch. Maybe that's happening with Pop right now. I'm not saying that, but just like, bro, get the ball to Wemby and run the offense through him. Like, Like that's not that hard to do.
It's really not, man. It was so many times early in the season where you see Victor point the hand or like throw the lob. I'm like, he's 7'4" with like an 8'9" wingspan. He gonna catch it. He's going to catch it. But yeah, I like Philly. I like San Antonio. San Antonio was my main spot because I feel like familiarity is already there, and then also you're gonna be paired with literally he's gonna be an all NBA player. I mean, we see it now, like with Wemby.
Yeah.
He can only get better. So if I'm Murray, I'm still young. Let me latch on now with this organization that knows how to run itself properly, knowing we're gonna get talent around them. You got talent right now. And I don't think you got to give up too much to get Murray if you San Antonio. You can give up like Keldon Johnson or Sohan, whoever it is, and then you got your 1-2 punch right there. Murray can go into a number 2 role. He okay with that right now, being in Atlanta. So Wemby and Murray, I like that a lot, but I also wouldn't be mad at Philly as well. The next player, I'm not sure if he will get traded, but I'm watching it closely based on how they're playing. Our podcast favorite player, Lori from marketing, man. Lori marketing. There've been talks about how the price is going to be high for him, in my opinion, as it should be, because if he goes to a competing team, doing what he does now for Utah, granted Utah's not winning games, but we've seen Lori marketing go for like 40-point games, getting 12 to 15 rebounds. Like he's a legitimately good player. But for Lori from marketing, what do y'all think he will go, or will be a best fit?
Ooh. I think he's going to stay in Utah, but if he was traded, I would go with Dallas. I can see him being a better fit and a better version of what they thought Kristaps Porzingis was going to be with Luka. He can fill that role and be probably more willing to do that alongside Kyrie and Luka and just add some more size. They need more size on that team. That's one thing. I watched them last night against the Pelicans, and the Pelicans sat 4 of their best guys. Still were able to dominate because of Jonas Valanciunas and Larry Nance, because of the lack of size that Dallas has. So I think that he could go there and really thrive, especially just getting the open shots he would get playing alongside Luka and Kyrie would be crazy for him. He's already super efficient. He'll be even more efficient with the Dallas Mavericks.
I love the Mavericks pick. It's actually in my top 3 for marketing. My 2 would be my 2 is actually Indy. If you're gonna go all offense, go all offense. Ooh. And you are still looking for that stretch player that you compare with Miles Turner. But my number 1 is the Thunder, easily.
Ooh.
Easily the Thunder. The Thunder, they don't have to give up Jalen Williams. There we go. Come on, Trevor. they ain't got to give up too much. They're gonna keep Shea. They're gonna keep Shed, and then if you can keep Jalen Williams. And it's a wild west. Ain't nobody playing defense. You need as much as you can get, and the Thunder got as much as they can give. So I gotta go OKC Thunder with marketing.
I'm trying to see, because if I'm the Thunder, I think the Thunder are not gonna trade they pieces for some reason. I think that Presti is just like latched on to who he has, and he's prideful in that regard. I think he likes the idea of keeping all those picks for whatever reason. When in reality, I mean, they're a top 2 or 3 seed right now out west. Yeah, you gotta strike while the iron is hot, man. I'm all about striking while the iron is hot.
Yeah, tied with Minnesota at number 1.
Tied with them, yeah. They can get the number 1 seed. They balling this year, man. And so if you add another player that's a legitimate player in Lowry marketing, I mean, you can make it work. But at the same time, they're like, we're good with what we have right now without giving up any assets. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the tough part.
You still I guess it would be dangerous though, because the picture, a front court where you have both Chet and Laurie, like the length, the shooting, that would be crazy alongside with Shea doing all the things that Shea does. And they play so well together. I don't know if I want to mess up what OKC has in any type of way. Now, if they just want picks, you could throw all the picks in the world at them because OKC has all those. But if they want one of those core players, and there's one core player that's probably kind of untradeable right now, that plays for OKC that nobody probably want to touch. So outside of him, it's probably nobody else they didn't want to give up. So I don't know if that could work just because OKC's playing so well right now. Do you really want to mess up that chemistry by adding somebody else to it?
Yeah,
I like it. How about this one? And this was a dark horse, Sacramento.
Sacramento need a big man. Like I can't. I wouldn't touch any other like power forward, small forward. Sacramento needs a big man the worst way.
I think they're gonna keep going with Sabonis though.
I don't like that. I don't like that, man. You got that.
Neither.
Man. We saw last year. Draymond literally A-Town stomped on Sabonis' chest, man. Like, like they need a big man. They need an enforcer. They need an enforcer in the middle to kind of like be the bully for that young team. So I wouldn't trade Mark for marketing if I'm Sacramento.
Yeah, I agree because they need defense in the worst way. And I've watched all the games they played against the Pelicans this year, and the Pelicans were able to beat them pretty easily because they just have no size. So Zion, JV, they just ate down low, and they need size. JaVale McGee's cool off the bench, but you need size that's truly going to be there to stop something in the middle. Because when you play against the best teams, they're going to be like, okay, we're just going to go to the rim every time. Brandon Ingram to the rim, layup whenever you wanted to, because they have nobody to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, next player. Well, the next two players I'm gonna say because they're last together. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Chicago was in the first of all, Chicago Bulls. Why y'all booing Jerry Krause like widow? Like,
that was horrible.
What's up with that, man? Like, and it's stuff like that where Chicago just can't have nice things. It's been a long time since Chicago has seen success in any capacity, and so for them to just boo the wife of Jerry Krause, I'm like, come on, man. But
I mean, you got to think they still think it's his fault though,
which is crazy because he helped, create their memorable era in terms of like, I mean, it's Jordan, obviously, let's be real, Jordan. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Krause had a hand in helping. Now he had a hand in hurting. I ain't gonna lie, he had a hand in hurting it. But I mean, he did help them get their championships. But anyway, it ain't about him. It's about LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So, Took, you were big on DeRozan to Memphis. That obviously ain't happening right now because they playing the Memphis Hustle out there in FedEx Forum right now with the whole damn team hurt. So I don't want to hear Memphis. Give me the destinations for DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Have
Grizzlies, nigga.
That ain't happening.
So I got a couple that I do like. I got the Knicks as number one.
Okay.
And I got the Heat for number two. Just scoring ability, just that's all you need is scoring. Some people would say DeMar and Jimmy play the same thing. Yes and no, because if Jimmy got somebody that he know is going to score 20 points a game, I think he'll go out and look for him. His assist numbers will go up, and they both respect each other to know like whoever hot, y'all carry us. You know what I'm saying? DeMar just want to win, Jimmy just want to win, and that Heat culture, DeMar would be perfect for it. But I did have the Knicks over them for the simple fact of if Jalen ain't going, if Julius Randle taking dumbass shots that ain't going in, you do need that pure bucket getter, the closer. The same reason I want him on the Grizzlies, just to be able to close games when Jalen Brunson or Randle ain't able to.
Even with them getting OG Anunoby, who been playing pretty well for them.
He's been playing pretty well, but we talking about DeMar, who's done it in All-Star. OG, will he ever be an All-Star?
Nah, I don't know.
Does he have All-Star potential? Like DeMar's been there, like he's doing it still, averaging but almost 20 a game, I think. So I think that'll be a perfect spot for him, and he wants to win. Like I think the Knicks, honestly, I picked them over the Bucks already. You get somebody like DeMar.
Hey, I'm leaning. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm leaning because the Knicks a good team, man. The Knicks, like, I mean, of course, playoffs come and Thibodeau running players to the ground, but they look like a team that has that dog in them. Like, I would love to see them in a series with Miami.
You can run DeMar to the ground. Run him. Don't you win. That's my dog, man. I like DeMar.
So for DeMar, I do agree with you on the Knicks. I think the Knicks would be a good fit because they just need somebody else who has that mentality where they can score at any point in the game and can score in tough situations. Jalen Brunson definitely can do that, but his lack of size at times can hinder him, especially if teams are like, okay, we're going to get the ball at Brunson's hands. And now you depend on Randle. And we know with Randle, there's going to be days where he's going to go 1 for 19 out there and not going to get back on defense. And he's going to get in his moods. So you got to have somebody else out there who's a true professional, right? And DeMar DeRozan is a guy, like Tuke says, wants to win, can be somebody you can depend on in the clutch. And that he's not known for his defense, but playing for Tibbs, he'll be a solid defender in that system. So I think that would be a good fit.
Agreed.
Okay. Fatboy, shout out to Darren. He said, would the Magic go for LaVine or DeRozan? I feel like they need another score, especially at the end of the game. I wouldn't be mad at that as somebody that's been watching the Magic. They kind of been on a slow decline lately in terms of them, from the early season, they were winning a lot of games. Now they're like, I think 21-18 right now. So they've been kind of evening themselves out. I wouldn't be mad at that. I'm wondering if Orlando is hesitant to make a trade, given that they have, some legitimately good players, so they don't want shots taken away from Wagner or Paolo. But they do, in my opinion, and going back to Tuke's point, we'll talk about later today, they got the small guards in their lineups, you know what I'm saying? And they've been running Paolo as like a point forward, which I'm cool with, but I still feel like they need to just get the ball into the hands of a true point guard and kind of, expand the offense that way. I wouldn't be mad if they went and got DeMar DeRozan. I think DeRozan would fit that team in terms of like getting the bucket. Levine, I don't think Levine helps anybody. I mean, unless he's like a third scorer and not being charged to defend. Like, I don't think that Tibbs would want a Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine ain't playing defense, man. He's just not doing it. He can score, but if he's not scoring, what is he providing for the team? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of think that LaVine's going to be stuck in Chicago, and I think DeRozan will be more likely to be traded, in my opinion. That's how I see it. Who else
with LaVine? Well, LaVine is tough because LaVine's in the second year of that big contract. So if you trade for LaVine, you're not just getting a rental. Like, you're getting LaVine for a minute. Like, you in a long-term relationship.
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it.
That's the tough thing with LaVine. But I do think LaVine would fit well with the Lakers, because the Lakers need what he does. They need somebody to score. They need somebody to space the floor. They need somebody who could be that third option for them. And what I don't get is, what I'm hearing a lot in national media is, the Lakers are unwilling to give up Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is cool. Like, he's a cool player. But like, I know people are down on Zach LaVine, but let's stop it. Austin Reeves is a liability on defense. Like, people go at Austin Reeves. Like that's the strategy. So if he's a liability on defense, giving you 15 points a game, why don't you bring in a liability on defense that's going to get you 20 to 25 points a game? Like, I don't get what the big thing is about, we got to keep Austin Reeves just because he said I'm him one time. Like, because he did that on national TV. Like, Austin Reeves, like, that's the thing with playing with LeBron, though. If you play good with LeBron, you're going to be overrated. If you play bad with LeBron, you're going to be underrated. There's no in between when it comes to LeBron teammates. I feel like with Austin Reeves, he's been overrated to the point where people are like, he's untouchable in the trade market. Stop it.
Man, Austin Reeves, get the hell up out of there if I can get Zach LaVine. I wouldn't mind seeing Zach LaVine with the Lakers, as far as like, that makes the most sense to me. Like, that makes sense for like what they need. They need additional scorers, not Austin Reeves, who's like he's okay, but like matter of fact, Trevor Hef right here, he's all right, but he's not real. Shout out to Jay-Z. All right, speaking of contracts, the last player that I got to talk about, and I don't think he gets traded this year, but I think that at some point within the next year, it's going to have to be a discussion, because one, I don't think he's going to take his player option for his age 29th year, as far as like living in life. And that's Spider Mitchell, man. He's due, I think, $32 million this year, and then I think 37 the following year. So the next year is technically his last year on this deal with the Cavaliers, because I can pretty much guarantee you he is not taking that player option after next year.
He should.
Spider Mitchell, I don't think he gets traded this year. But what's a good fit for Spider Mitchell coming up?
Oh, that's tough, man. Honestly, I feel like Cleveland is a great fit. Like, they're starting to play well lately. Last year, you saw them play well during the regular season, and then when they ran into the Knicks, you saw some of their shortcomings. But as a team, they fit well. Now, looking at what Spider Mitchell does, he provides great scoring for you, and you're like, who does he fit with? He could be somebody, if the Lakers want to go that route and get another dynamite score in that way. But, who do you give up for him? I know he wants to go to the Knicks. That was just the big thing, that he wanted to go to the Knicks. But does he fit there now with what they have? And do you want a backcourt of Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell together? I don't think that's the best fit. So, honestly, I think the best fit for him is Cleveland. He may not like Cleveland as a city and might want to go to, a bigger market or something like that. But as far as a basketball fit, I think Cleveland is the best fit for Donovan Mitchell.
So I got 4 teams for Donovan Mitchell. The Knicks being number one because I know for sure, due to sources and reading and everything like that he wants to be in New York. He wanted to be in New York. They actually had a deal for him to go from Utah. Utah declined it for whatever reason, so he ended up going to Cleveland. So he do want to be a Knick, and the Knicks have 4 first-round picks this draft. Again, 4. So they got the pieces. If they want Donovan Mitchell and Mitchell wants to be there, I can't see why they can't, why they won't make it happen. But the other teams that I have, do have, the Orlando Magic. That was one of my teams. So it's ironic that it was just brought up before. I do like them in Orlando. All them guards, you can kind of do whatever you can, send them elsewhere as long as you can get, Donovan Mitchell and Paolo for the next 4 or 5 years. That's cool in Orlando. I do have the Heat. I got the Heat being a buyer. They gonna get somebody. I told y'all, OG Pat Riley ain't just finna stand still. He ain't finna let y'all play with his name like that. I mean, but even if so, I still got him better than Milwaukee and Philly. But my thing is, see, Miami. There we go, Candy. We here. I like Miami. They not gonna stand pat. They need somebody like Donovan Mitchell. They try to get him in Dame Lillard, and we saw what happened with them. So I like them with the Heat and also the Brooklyn Nets. Watch out for them trying to get something going with at least they guard play, because Spencer Dinwiddie, he done made me so much money betting the less. I'm giving y'all a what I'm saying, Chris. I'm telling. Here we go. So you said the Knicks and Brooklyn. Like, I know you don't want to hear it, Chris, but we on the same mindset on that one, bro. But yeah, like, shout out to Spencer for all the money he's got me so far this season, bro. Keep it up.
So that might keep it up. What you betting on with Spencer?
Always the under. Always
the under.
Points, rebound, assists under, points under. Trust me. If you get it one day, bet double down the next one. I'm telling you.
All right. So this is my gut telling me with Spider. I think that Cleveland is probably going to keep him, and I think they're gonna, not like for this season in terms of like trade. They're not gonna trade in this season. They're gonna keep Donovan Mitchell. I think they're gonna have a playoff situation where they again realize that this two small guard lineup is not working, and I think they're gonna trade Darius Garland to somebody. I don't know who. Maybe it's the Lakers. I don't know. And they're going to, I don't know what kind of offense they're going to run, because you need another like solid size guard. So maybe they're in the market for a bigger, like a taller point guard. I actually think a guard like Dinwiddie would be good beside Donovan Mitchell. Not that they would trade for Dinwiddie, but like a tall guard that can facilitate.
Yeah.
In the perfect world, it would have been Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey don't touch on little girls, so that's his situation. But if they can get like a tall not combo, but a tall point guard type player that can facilitate, I think that would be ideal for Cleveland. Because like Trevor mentioned, I don't think he and Garland are going to mesh well, even despite having a good defensive front court with Mobley and Jared Allen. I think Cleveland are going to give money to Spider Mitchell, give him what he wants, because at his price, $37 million for that player option year, that's way too cheap. And Mitchell is worth way more than that. The man scored 70 points. I mean, like, come on. He gonna have to get paid with the new CBA money. So I think they keep Mitchell and trade Garland. That's what I foresee.
37 mil in Cleveland got him feeling like a king.
Man, he need more Mitchell, man.
You can buy somebody 37 million in Cleveland.
You're gonna need way more than that, man. So, but yeah, man, we're gonna update throughout the next couple of weeks with the trade wins as they are gonna be moving. We'll see. Last year we didn't have too much craziness happening. So this year I don't expect that much to happen either, which means that we're gonna get LeBron traded to freaking New York. Something crazy gonna happen that way. Speaking of two guard lineups, too, I'm gonna let you rock with this one. You discussed it in the group chat a couple days ago about the trend of 2 point guard lineups. So just kind of go through what you were thinking about with it.
Yeah, so it's just one of them days, just scrolling on 2K, you know what I'm saying, do what I do. And I'm just noticing like a lot of like guards, a lot of teams, excuse me, use 2 point guard lineups. And I'm thinking that's something that, is it something that we're going to see more of, or excuse me, is it something that is something that die down? If you ask me personally, I think that it's something that is going to continue to be, because the league loves their offense. But I definitely want to get y'all opinion on it. When you think about almost half of the teams in the NBA starting 2 point guards, and we can kind of go through them real quick. Again, I got I think it's like 13, 14 of them, but the Celtics with Drew Holiday and Derek White, point guards. Cleveland, D-Mitch and Darius Garland. The Heat, they start Tyler Hero. ESPN got him as a point guard, so technically, and Kyle Lowry. The Magic, Fultz, Thugs, all them, they got some of them listed ESPN as shooting guards, but we know what's up. They all guards, point guards, whatever, and they all listed up under 6'4", which matters because still it's small ball at the end of the day. Savage, you brought it up a few times on this pod already, and this is kind of what the point I'm getting to. Toronto, they started Quickly and Schroeder. People really don't know Emmanuel Quickly, 6'2".
Yeah.
The Hornets with LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier. You know, Detroit, in my opinion, they best lineup. Kay Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, for the what it's worth, that's their best lineup. So I did include them on the list. You can kind of take them off of the basketball head if you want. That's cool. And then over to the West, Ja Morant, Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart has been a point guard for a championship, you know, at least a team that went to the championship for the last few years. He's a point guard. And, of course, Ja Morant, for the few games that he has played, unfortunately, this year. Get well soon, Doc. He's on this list. Dallas, Luka, Kyrie, Utah, Colin Sexton, and Chris Dunn. Yes, Chris Dunn still plays, and he started for the Utah Jazz 14 times this season. The Warriors is on this list as well. Believe it or not, Chris Paul has started 11 games. Steph is, of course, with Clay, and both of them has only missed 2 to 3 games apiece. So they're starting guards with Clay and Steph. With Sticky Podzimski, shout out to the name from Hey Arnold, shout out to Candy. Sticky, he started 9 games this season. So we seeing the trend. And of course, last but not least, the Blazers starting Scoot and Anthony Simons, both at 6'3". And they also got Malcolm Brogdon, who started 16 games. So you got, again, almost half the team starting 2 point guards. And again, do y'all think it's a trend to just have multiple playmakers on the court at the same time? Or is it giving the ball to your best player, your best scorers? Because, you know, most teams, their best scorers are point guards in this NBA game. So, Dame, I kind of want to start with your view first, because you cover the game, especially with 2 teams that don't actually have a point guard. Hey, yeah, you got to talk about that too. What's up with that? First things first. Definitely want to get your opinion on what you see on the court.
Nah, you bring up a really good point about the 2 point guard lineups, and I think it's the evolution of the game where you have players who wouldn't have been point guards in the past who now have point guard skill sets. Think about Luka Doncic, right? Luka wouldn't have been a point guard 10, 15 years ago because he's so big, but now you got him and Kyrie, so you have a 2 point guard lineup. Same thing with LaMelo Ball being his size. He wouldn't have been a point guard so long ago, but now you have him and Terry Rozier where you have 2 point guards. So I think because of the evolving skill set of the players, you're going to continue to see this. And like you said, teams want to get out as fast as possible, and they want to be able to pass to whoever to bring the ball up. So if you have 2 legit point guards who can run your offense, you could just get it out to whoever and run your offense quickly, because that's the main thing, to get into your offense as fast as possible so the defense doesn't have time to set. You don't have to wait to get to that 1 point guard. So there's some teams who may have that 1 ball handler, and then teams like, okay, we're going to make it as hard as possible to get to the ball to that guy. You're going to have like a Pat Bev type to pick them up 94 feet. And now you're struggling to see who's going to get the ball. And then next thing you know, you don't get into your offense until 10 seconds to the shot clock. So I think it's a thing about getting into your offense as fast as possible and having as many playmakers as possible as well.
That's a good point. So it's kind of weird. The NBA is making a dramatic shift towards taller players. So, for example, speaking of point guards, like Amen Thompson is like what 6'6". Like that's Michael Jordan. That's a shooting guard in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Kobe's a shooting guard in the 2000s. We talked about him before. I mean, basketball only. Josh Giddey is like 6'7", but he's a facilitator of the ball. But he technically is a point guard. You know, even SJ 6'5", 6'6". He's tall. You know, point guard type.
Yeah, it's a big guard.
And so you see that. You see the trend of like smaller power forwards now. They're like 6'8", 6'7", whereas back in like the 90s, they were like 6'10", 6'11". I mean, we talked about the Spurs before. They had Duncan playing power forward. He's almost 7 foot. You had David Robinson playing center. You had Shaq and Robert Horry at one point, who are both tall. And so now it's less about the height and more about the skills, and it's more about the specialists. Like Dane mentioned, you got Pat Bev. He's not really a point guard. He can run point. I mean, he was a great player in the city of Chicago growing up in high school, but he is on the court to play defense and to knock down a 3-point shot. That's just what he does. Cole Anthony, you talk about the Magic. Cole Anthony is point guard size, but he is not on the court to pass the ball. He's on the court to go get buckets as a 6-man, as a spark plug to do his thing. Marcus Smart, he didn't even play point guard at Oklahoma State. He was kind of like a shooting guard, an off-ball combo guard. but he did want to run point for Boston. They did it his last year in Boston, and they played well, but he's not really a true point guard. And he's definitely not a point guard for the. He's a small forward for the Grizzlies now, which is kind of crazy. He's like my height, 6'4". So I think thinking about the game and thinking about positions. Jalen Rose mentioned this in years past, where the positions were helpful for a novice to learn the game. It's more about when you're on the court, what can you do? Right. So that's why you see a team in previous years, like the Grizzlies, have these undersized players, but they lead the league in rebounding because those players are on the court to make hustle plays. So it's not about you're tall, go rebound. It's more so about you can hustle your ass off, go rebound. You can knock down a shot, you are my shooter. You can defend on the court, go be my defender. It's more about that. And that's why I think now more than ever, coaching is going to be so crucial when you're running these lineups, because if you have an undersized lineup, you got to figure out the best defensive scheme to stop these other players who got 6'5" guards like Anthony Edwards, like Devin Booker, because you got to guard them dudes one way or another, night in and night out. And if you're going out there with an undersized lineup like Cleveland, you better be sure to know how to play defense. And likewise, like Dane mentioned, running your offense, man. So having more than one playmaker on the court, it tends to help. But if you're also going to be a playmaker, you got to be a knockdown shooter when that ball is whipping around the court. You know what I'm saying? So I see the game moving more so in a way that it's going to be about what are your skills on the court. And that's why if you listen to this podcast now and you got kids who playing basketball, learn how to dribble, learn how to shoot, learn how to pass, learn how to make the right pass, chest pass, bounce pass, over the head pass, touch pass. Like those are going to be crucial for your development as a player, because
learn what a travel is.
Learn what right. You can be an undersized player and play out of position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you can be a small power forward, but if you know how to use your body and your size to manipulate the game, you can be like Draymond Green, who's 6'6", but has been one of the best power forwards in the game in terms of like what he does on the court for that team. It's more so about what are you learning, and that's why I feel like European players are so well suited for today's game. Luka Doncic is a prime example of that. They learn the skills of the game and not just for Tuk's point about Giannis, not learn just to run and dunk all the time. You got to know how to have skills on the basketball court. So yeah, that's what I think of it, man. What do you think about it, Tuk?
I think it's an unfortunate trend that's going to continue. Granted, is it going to win games? No. But we still see teams, trying to steal out the Warriors playbook with chunking as many threes as we possibly can. The more threes we hit, the more likely we'll win. We'll win the game. And that's not only just basketball. There's you can we bring up 2K a lot. You know what I'm saying? Most times to win a basketball nowadays is you got to shoot. And the most buckets we can put up, the more chances we get to score. And I think that if you do have two guards, two playmakers on the court, because most times, 9 times out of 10, the best playmakers are guards. But at the same time, when you look at the Nuggets, look at the Nuggets. Man. They got two playmakers, and they center the best playmaker. You know what I'm saying? So granted, most teams don't have that skill set, that mindset, that privilege. But at the same time, we talk about, unfortunately, if you want to talk about the year that Giannis did win a championship, I think he was one of the team leaders in assists. Mm-hmm. So you got just give the ball to your best playmakers. You got, some of the worst teams that do start 2 point guards, but that's the best that they can do. Is it going to win championships further down? In this era where offense is turning up, I think eventually. It's the same way where the Warriors came in, and you're going to have that team that started 2 point guards. Plus are able, like, let's take Cleveland, for example. I agree 100% with Donovan Mitchell, and Darius Garland can make it work. But you can't space the floor with whoever you got a small for, and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. There's no floor space and there's no extra scoring amongst any of the other three. So if I'm Cleveland, I'm keeping Jared Allen for sure, because he should be all-star this year. Thank you for helping me make some money if you talk about him. And then Darius Garland and Mitchell, of course, they're undersized, but you can find some other wings that can help spread the floor. That's all they need to actually make it work.
Yeah, they got Strus though. Strus, he been hooping for him.
He been hooping for him, but he's new to that system. And if you can upgrade, find somebody that can do better than Strus, even at the 4, like even if Mobley come back, and you may have to trade him or do something between Mobley and Allen. Like, it can work. You just got to find the right coach and the right coach to make it work. But I think it can work.
That's the thing, man. I think you mentioned the Nuggets. That's another European player. That's Jokic. Where these players, they come in and they are ready to play in whatever way you need them to play. And I think as far as like just thinking about the American system of basketball, that's what we need to teach our kids, man. It's like it's not just being saucy with the dribbles. It's about the angles of the court, the passes that like Joker makes. Sabonis, also a European, that he makes. I mean, of course, he had his dad, Arvidas Sabonis, to help him out with that. But like that's the most important thing is just like knowing what you can do and then learning bits and pieces here and there. Like I'm pretty sure Joker didn't come in and wasn't like an amazing like scorer of the ball, but he can do it now if he needs to. But he'd rather like pass and rebound and do those things, man. Like you gotta evolve your game for the modern game, knowing that just because I'm 6'8" don't mean that I'm playing small forward. I might have to be a power forward. I might have to be the point guard. Think about like Paolo. Paolo runs point now. I'd rather him not run point, but he can run point in case the team needs that, depending on what they need. So,
and you brought up Steve Kerr, and I think that's kind of where we can kind of give credit to Steve Kerr because Draymond Green is the best playmaker on that team, and he's been the best playmaker on that team ever since the dynasty started. And like to giving, credit to you is like if anybody watching this and listening, it is good to be able to be self-aware, right? Like Draymond came into a situation where he was self-aware. I'm big, but I'm 6'6". I'm the shortest man in the starting lineup, but I'm having to make it work. Sometimes I am the shortest man in the starting lineup, in some Warriors cases. But he's the best playmaker on the team. He's a rebounder. He's a defender. He can do everything, and he can find the best shooters on the team, which are guards. So I think it could work eventually, but right now, we'll see.
We'll see, man. All right, man, let's close it out here, man. Dame, you covered the Suns, man. From my point of view, as a non-Suns fan, it's a very interesting season. We did have like Kevin Durant, not him come out, but there were rumors of like he was unsatisfied with what was going on in the season. We had their big three in and out constantly. Bradley Beal is finally playing basketball now. Of course, you got Devin Booker. You have no point guard on the team, according to Took. But what is your vibe in terms of like you covering the team? Like, what are you seeing? Is it as good as you thought it was going to be in terms of like the team with adding Kevin Durant for the full season now? Are you hopeful that they can like churn together some wins? Like, what's your overall perspective on the Phoenix Suns?
I think it's TBD, right? Because you mentioned all of the injuries they've had, not only to Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, but some of the role players have missed time. Like Josh Okogie is really big for them. He's missed time. Grace now has missed some time here and there. And they had to get used to having Yusuf Nurkic in the middle. And they didn't have a chance to really have that time in the beginning of the season where you gel together and you find out, oh, this person likes the ball here and this person likes the ball here. And it should be easy for them because Booker, KD, and Bill are bona fide scorers who can make it work in pick and roll situations. And you can pretty much run pick and roll with them and run little plays to get them in their mid range where they can shoot the ball. And because of the spacing they create, they'll be able to flourish in that way. But it just they haven't had the time to gel offensively. Now, we've seen it a couple times, right? I think their last game against the Lakers where Bill went crazy. You saw how, okay, when all three of them are really going, this is what can happen. To Toot's point about the lack of a point guard, Devin Booker has been good in that role this year. Yeah. Now, is he going to be good in that role when it's playoff time and the defense knows your sets? And now it's up to that playmaker to get the ball to KD in the right spot or to get the ball to Bill in that right spot or to know when to go ahead and take over and go ahead and score yourself. That's going to be the big question. But he's been good in that role. He's been at a good assist turnover ratio. He's had games this year where he's had 10 plus assists where you can see like, okay, he can really do this. But does it take a toll on him as well? We've seen that with Chris Paul over the years where the toll of being the guy, of having the ball in your hands all the time takes that toll on you. Will it have the same effect on Devin Booker? That's kind of my cause to pause there when it comes to Devin Booker and that playmaker role. So I think it's still TBD when it comes to them. Defensively is where I have the big question marks. Nurkic, he's good when he's motivated. He's really good when he's playing against somebody like playing against Joker. Man, he balls out when he's playing against Joker for some reason. I don't know why he doesn't find that same energy. Yeah, he doesn't find that same energy in other games though. So it's like
I said the same thing about Ayton. Look what that happened.
Yeah, that's true. With Nurkic, you don't find that same energy in certain games where it's not against that big time matchup, and that's when their middle can be gashed defensively because he's not a great shot blocker. And you have someone like a Drew Eubanks you could bring off the bench, but he offensively is kind of limited. So what do you do center-wise when it comes to teams that are going to attack the middle? And is KD going to be that guy to protect him for you? Or, Bol Bol's been getting time lately. Is Bol Bol the guy to protect the rim for you? So they're still trying to figure it out. Frank Vogel's been throwing spaghetti at the wall as well, trying to figure out the rotations and figure out what he's going to do. But I do think they had the potential to turn around because they have so much offensive talent. Grayson Allen's been balling out this year. He's been shooting the scalper ball this year. So with players like Grayson Allen and those other guys around him shooting the ball, I think they can still be good. Now, are they going to be OKC? Are they going to be there with Denver? Are they going to be there with the top echelon of the Western Conference? That's where I have to stop and say, I don't see them beating those top teams.
You mentioned the defense. That's Frank Vogel's calling card. And how do Suns fans feel about Frank Vogel in terms of like, do they like him? Like, what's the pulse around Phoenix with that?
Oh yeah, well, fans are like anybody, man. So you definitely getting a lot of negative. You're getting a lot of negative reviews on Frank Vogel right now. Some people have questioned his rotations. People love Bol Bol. So the big thing that got him off on the wrong foot with fans that he wasn't playing Bol Bol to start. So literally, you'd be in the arena, they'd be chanting, "We want Bol Bol," and Bol Bol wasn't getting no time. So that was a big thing where fans, kind of like I guess got a sour taste in their mouth about Frank Vogel. But Frank Vogel, I think, is a very good coach. Defense is his calling card, but he's also got to have the right personnel for that defense, right? With the Lakers, you got Anthony Davis there, along with some of the other players that had Caruso and those guys, and KCP, right? I think KCP gets overlooked in his impact on that Lakers team as well. So when you have defensive players like that, you can run your defensive system. This team, they have Josh Okogie, who's a really good defender, but outside of that, Devin Booker can defend, but he's not a great defender. KD can be a good defender, but he's got so much a load on offense. You don't want him defending the best guy all the time. I just mentioned how Nurkic, certain times, if he's not going against a big center, if he's going against more of a stretch guy, he struggles. So he doesn't have the personnel to fit his system defensively right now. So that's why they're kind of in the middle on both ends. They're ranked 15th in both offense and defense because they're trying to figure out what's going on there. So they're really right in the middle as a team right now.
It's funny because, like, just thinking about this whole situation, it's like Jonte Murray. We mentioned him; he'd be a perfect fit for the Suns team. But it'll be like, what would you have to get up? What would you have to pay him?
They wouldn't be able to get him because of the salary.
Because of salaries, right? But my thing is like, and I'm happy you kind of brought it up as far as like sustainability. Because when I see Booker running point, I get it. I like that he's getting comfortable doing what he's doing and he's putting up good numbers. With all due respect, that man is a killer. Get him the ball, get the hell out the way. And I get progressing this game. I get looking for your teammates. I get, just being able to take control, with the quote on him saying, "I'm the point, KD, you the scorer." Oh, you a scorer too. You a cold. People are doubling you in training camp and practices in YMCAs. Like, you gonna get double everywhere you go. You are a killer. I don't like the fact that Devin Booker's still running point. But I mean, if it's something that Suns fans and Vogel feel like they got to do, I guess that's what they got to do. But again, sustainability. Like, do you see the Suns actually going to get a point guard to help start alongside Devin Booker, or do you think Devin Booker gonna be the point guard for the rest of the season?
I don't know who they could go get. Like, there was rumors of them getting somebody like a TJ McConnell, but that's not a starting guard. That's somebody you bring off the bench who's a really good change of pace point guard for you. But there's no one out there who's a starting quality point guard who they can go get right now because their roster is so tied up with all the money they've put into the big three. And Nurkic makes a good chunk as well. So I think it's 74% of their salary cap goes to those four players. So when you have so much tied up in those players, it's going to be hard to make any type of move. Like, they're married to this unit. They're married to this team of saying, okay, we got three absolute killers in Bill, Booker, and Durant, and we're going to go with that. And hopefully we can outscore you. Hopefully we can defend enough at crucial points in the game to be able to stop you. But honestly, I would love to see Bill beat a point. But Bill, we've never seen him have that real skill set of, okay, I'm going to run the unit. I would love to see, like you're saying, let Booker go. Yeah, he's a killer too. Booker, like we just seen Bill that night go off. He's a killer. But out of those three, I would love to see Bill be the playmaker and then choose his moments to kill. Then have Booker just let him loose, like you said, let him be the assassin he is, and let him go kill, and let him get the assist off of the double teams and things like that come to him after he starts killing.
You think the Suns could be successful with Nurkic? I don't.
I was a big. I questioned the move because Ayton is more naturally talented than Nurkic, but it does seem like they just had to get rid of Ayton. It seems like that was just chemistry-wise, it just was bad. He needed a new start. He's not really balling in Portland, so it seems like they made the right move in getting rid of Ayton. But with Nurkic, like I said, he's just so inconsistent, especially around the rim. I've never seen a big man miss so many layups and putbacks. Like, take the time and put the ball in. Like, he missed so many layups and putbacks around the rim. So he definitely, like, when it comes to being around the rim, I joked with some of the other reporters. You just gotta make sure he thinks he's playing against Denver every night, because the game they played against Denver.
I gotta watch it now.
Like,
I gotta watch it now. Now that you mentioned that, I gotta watch it now.
Yo, he balled out against Joker. And like you said, maybe it's because they're former teammates and he feels slighted because they chose Joker over him, but obviously they made the right decision. But maybe he feels slighted because of that, because he goes at Joker's neck each and every time. So I'm like, man, just make it like you're pretending, because then that next game they played against Sacramento, he has the size advantage. That's one of the matchups where he should go to work. And they tried to do that. Like, okay, we're going to feed off this momentum that you had against Denver. We're going to feed you. He ended up going like 5-15, missing a bunch of inside shots. So it's something in him where you have to like ignite that. Okay, you're playing against somebody else who is considered an elite center. Go at them, score the bucket. And defensively, he can't really switch on the outside. And then inside, if he's not going against a big center, he's going to struggle against the more mobile centers. So that definitely puts him in a bind. But he does have good instincts as it comes to, like, say, a pick and roll and they double team Booker and you pass to him. He has a really good instinct on that 4-and-3 type situation where he makes the right passes. He definitely has a high basketball IQ on the offensive floor. Just his lack of finishing at times is really frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Twice in March, playoff time.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it like, okay, March, I'm gonna check, because that makes the most sense. Like, why does he get up for just Joker? Like, Joker, I mean, it's true the best center in the game, but dog, man, play against these slow centers, man. Come on. All right. So going into this, so that's the team you cover. Now, in previous years, I have gone at you and other Pelicans fans about, like, y'all trash, like all that stuff. Of course, I'm not saying y'all trash for real, obviously, but I have like been that person to say I don't think that like BI and Zion can work together. You have said keep both of them before, and obviously y'all playing great basketball right now. We saw Hawkins go off for 30 plus the other day, and like I said before the show, like, for some reason y'all just find wing players that know how to score, that know how to play basketball, that know how to defend. I can't talk trash about the Pelicans today, ladies and gentlemen. Like, my team, the Grizzlies, they are in the hospital. All 20 of them in the hospital right now.
Nito.
but the Pelicans are playing good basketball right now. Vibes are immaculate in New Orleans. So what are you seeing from the Pelicans? And can they make a sneaky run this year? How do you feel about them?
So actually, I have to give the Grizzlies some credit. I think we took 2 bad losses to the Grizzlies in like a week span, where both games we should have won, but we didn't execute down the stretch. You guys came back and beat us. That second game was crazy. The second game, we like, it was like 0.4 seconds left, and we fouled Jaren Jackson Jr. in the last play, and like, so much stuff happened.
We had a point to prove when we played. You had a point to prove. Huh? That was your give back. That's what it was. All right, man.
But I do think that was kind of the wake-up call for us to execute better offensively. So since that second loss to the Grizzlies, we've been 7-2. Those 2 losses came to 2 of the best teams in the league, the Clippers and the Nuggets. So when you look at the way that we've been playing, and when you watch them, the flow of the ball is just beautiful to watch, the ball movement. And they talked about on the broadcast where they're like, oh yeah, they brought in a different coach, a different assistant coach to help modernize the offense. And Took, you mentioned how teams want to shoot more threes. That's been a big thing for the Pelicans over the last few weeks, is shooting more threes. So when you have, Zion inside and teams have to bring so much attention to him, as soon as he gets close to the rim, he's dishing out. He's hitting Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum. And we have a true 3-headed monster with CJ, Zion and BI. And it's something that really helps us out because coming down the court, defenses have no idea what we're going to run. We can post up Zion. We could do a pick and roll with CJ, or we can do some type of action where we have CJ coming off of screens, like a floppy type action where CJ comes off screens for a three. Like we can do anything down there, and teams just have no idea what's going to happen. Then you mentioned the depth. Last night against the Mavericks, we sat Zion, BI, CJ, and Trey Murphy. So 4 of our top, 5 players we sat, and we still end up beating the Mavericks. No Luka, but we still beat the Mavericks with Kyrie and the rest of the crew because we have the depth. We have Jordan Hawkins, who's the rookie that you mentioned. We have Jose Alvarado, who he's still getting people with it. He's still getting people with the Grand Theft Alvarado.
I don't know how you doing that, man. You do it every game. I'm like, y'all not know this man on the court? He's hiding in the corner.
Yeah. every time. He's still getting people.
You got Mr. Consistency, man. You can't forget about him.
Yeah.
Mr. Consistency, JV.
Yeah. JV, yeah. Easy button.
Yeah, he's so consistent each and every night. He plays each and every night, which is big. Even when the coach is like, okay, we're going to rest these players because we've been playing, this is the 4th game in like 6 nights, whatever it is. He still plays, and he dominated last night in that matchup. He's somebody who has also improved as a three-point shooter, which helps because when you have him and Zion, you need somebody to space the floor. So the fact that he's been able to increase his three-point shooting has really spaced out the floor for Zion, for Brandon Ingram, for CJ McCollum to do what they do. And you mentioned, can we make a deep playoff run? I think we can, especially depending on the matchup. So like right now, I believe we're in the 6th spot right now, but it could end up where we get Sacramento in the first round. I love our matchup against Sacramento. I think we would dominate. We've been dominating Sacramento. Yeah, so I think we would be able to beat Sacramento. Now we have to play Denver. That'll be tough. I still think we can make it a series, but I don't think we will beat Denver. But Sacramento, I could see us beating a Dallas. OKC will be very interesting. We've played well against OKC because OKC does lack size. When you got Chet Holmgren at center, give the ball to JV and let him go to work because that's barbecue chicken alert. So we've had success against them. So it depends on the matchup, but I definitely could see us winning a first round series for sure. And we have the depth, and even this year is not so dependent on Zion. So last year we got on the hot start, and it was so dependent on what Zion was doing. And once Zion got hurt, we kind of fell off. This year it's about the balance of the team. Zion's been good, but he's not an all-star this year. So it lets you know like the balance of this team and how they're not dependent on Zion. It's more about Brandon Ingram's the closer. CJ is going to get you important clutch buckets. And Zion, if you have a mismatch, you just go to Zion, let him eat. But it's all about the team, what they've been doing. So I really love how the Pelicans have been playing.
He definitely going to eat on and off the court.
Stop.
I ran into that one.
My favorite thing about the Pelicans this year, because I don't even hate the Pelicans in terms of like I hate them. Like I see them as a respectable rival. Like I look forward to the Grizzlies and Pelicans matchup from now until Ja and Zion are old men. But one thing that the Pelicans are benefiting a lot from is like just having good health. In previous years, like it's been so many like injuries with like Zion, BI. It's like they're actually playing together now, and they're both, as you mentioned, like they're both averaging the same amount of points. Like Zion get about 22, 23, BI get about 20, 21. And I've loved BI since he was with the Lakers. Like I knew what BI could do. BI gonna work you from the perimeter. He gonna get to that mid range. And the game against the Grizzlies, oh my goodness! I'm like, man, somebody get a hand up on this man. And even if you get a hand up, he gonna score that mud. It's like, golly, like all right, whatever. But I look forward to y'all doing well, man. Like, cause I feel like we need some variance in the NBA, man. I'm tired of seeing the same teams. Like, let me get the Pelicans a deep playoff run sometime, man. Since the Warriors ain't gonna be good this year, sorry too. Somebody else, the Kings.
Hey, man, chill. Listen, I do got one more question though. That is about Zion. I know I definitely joke about him, but I do want to be serious and say that he is having a good season. Yeah. And I just wanted to ask somebody that's a fan of the Pelicans, like, what more could you expect, right? Because we have the media that's been telling him, hey, you can't be doing this, hey, go lose weight, hey, go do this, when he done put 30 points last game. He had a stretch when he had 20 points back to back. So it's like he's doing it. He's actually doing this thing on the court, averaging 22 a game. Yeah. So to ask you, Damian, like, what more would you like to see for Zion or from Zion?
For me, the next step in his evolution is a mid mid-range jumper. I would love to see him get like a 15-foot consistent mid-range jump shot, or even though just when there's times where he plays against teams. Let's say it's like Milwaukee, for example, where they have both Giannis and Brook Lopez down there. So now you're dealing with all that length. What do? Let's get a little mid-range jumper right there. Let's get a little, not even 15 feet. Just when you're in the paint, he's done it from time to time where he's played against teams who just sit back and wait for him to come and pause, wait for him to come down to the paint. So when he comes down there, stop, get a little mid-range jumper in there. I would love to see that for him. I've loved what I've seen on defensive end of the floor. We've been playing very good on defense, and a big part of it is him, along with BI, being very, very in tune on defense with the rotations, him hustling, him moving his feet better, because that was a big part of his game that was lacking was defense. Like there was times where you watch Zion on defense, like, yo, come on, bro. We need you to put in some effort. Like, don't just die on the screen every time. Like, try to go around it. Like, do something. And these last couple of weeks, where we've been playing really well, Zion and BI have been really the linchpins of the defense, where you're like, okay, this is what we could see right here when this team is really locked in defensively. This is what they can do, right? And Herb Jones is a big part of that. But Herb Jones is one of the best defenders in the league, and he's a huge part of why we've been, good on defense. But with Zion, the next step, of course, being in shape and whatnot. But the thing is, when you watch him night in, night out, he doesn't seem like he's gassed all the time. He had a really bad game on national TV, and that's where all of this, came from, because all the attention was on the in-season tournament. We're playing the Lakers, and he didn't show up, and he did out of shape in that game. It looked like he just wasn't ready to play. My theory is I feel like they partied a little too hard. They got to Vegas, they want to have a good time, and that's why we didn't show up in that game. But night in, night out, he shows up. He plays big minutes, and there's not times where in the past where you could tell, like, okay, he's tired. He only could go a few minutes at a time. He's in shape. So I think that the narrative is, when it comes to the national media, it has to be like, oh, what are we going to talk about Zion? Oh, let's go to his weight, because that's the thing to go to. But honestly, he looks good on the court. Yeah, it looks good on the court, and he's been playing well, like you said. The next step is when teams are loading up and not letting you get to the rim, how do you still score? You can still affect the game because he can pass when teams are, bringing down and collapsing defensively. But what are you going to do when you need to score the ball and they're not letting you get to the rim? We need you to get more consistent with that mid-range jump shot and at least try it sometimes. He'll try the three. If they leave him butt naked wide open, he'll shoot a three, and it's not a bad-looking shot. But I don't even need the three-pointer. Just a little mid-range shot, a little consistent mid-range jumper. Next thing you know, people have to actually respect it, and they're actually reacting to your pump fake. It's over.
Go around it. Go. Yep.
Yes,
hey, he hit 2 middies a game. It'll be a 25 a game. Hey,
if I'm Zion, I'm going to holler at Zebo. Work on that
post. Yes, sir.
Post fade away, touch around the rim, like that sort of thing. Or even Hakeem to some extent. Like if you need to go talk to Hakeem or Zebo to figure out, get a go-to move, get one or two go-to moves from the post, back them down, create some space, turn over right or left shoulder, however you want to do it. That would do wonders for him as a player in terms of his development. So I definitely agree with that. All right, gentlemen, good show. Damian, we love having you on, man. Like I said, it's a long time coming, man. Long time coming, but we glad to have you here. Your Pelicans are out here killing it. Can't be too mad. Maybe a little bit mad since the Grizzlies are injured, so I ain't gonna talk too much about that. But love having you on, man. Where can we follow you on social media to follow you?
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me on, man. Like I said earlier, I'm truly a big fan of the show. I've gotten to know Took a little bit, outside of just the social media realm now. And, it's really dope to be able to see you guys grow and to be able to get to know him personally. So I'm looking forward to continue to work with you guys in the future. You can follow me at The Real Deal WDA. That's The Real Deal, W as in whiskey, D as in Delta, A as in Alpha, on all social media platforms. I'm always dropping some type of video, whether it's basketball, football, or boxing, some type of content on whatever your favorite social media app is. I'm on there, except if it's Threads or something like that. But the main ones, I'm all the main ones. If you are a Phoenix sports fan and you want to follow my work, there is at burncitysports.com. So right now they have me covering Arizona State. So I have been writing a lot about the Arizona State men's and women's basketball teams. Getting back into college. It's been a long time since I watched college basketball like this. So I'm getting back into the groove of things when it comes to college. And college is a little wild. College is a little wild. You'll watch a move, like, oh man, that was a good move, bro. I like that, man. grown man strength. And then the announcer be like, "Oh, that was a good move by the 6-year senior." Like, oh, no wonder he got grown man strength.
Like that, he's 28 years old, man. Damn.
He's a
that man got a mortgage. Like,
oh,
so it's a little wild out here in college basketball, but I'm loving it. So if you are a college basketball fan, you want to check out my work on Arizona State, it's at burncitysports.com. And hopefully I'll be back covering the Sun soon. They keep us at our toes at Burn City Sports and change up our beats. So go ahead and check out Burn City Sports for all Phoenix sports content.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe. Be blessed. Peace.
Deuces.